South Australia is just hours away from going into total lockdown, a desperate last-ditch bid to contain a COVID outbreak that's threatening to spiral out of control. From midnight tonight, most businesses, including hotels and takeaway outlets, will close for a minimum of 6 days. Schools will close, weddings and funerals are banned, all gatherings are cancelled. South Australians will essentially be confined to their own homes, even going for a walk is off limits. And another first, anyone who must be on the streets is advised to wear a mask. The fallout will be significant. Already this afternoon, we've seen panic buying like never before. This is the Woolies at Glenelg. There are similar scenes right across the suburbs. We'll have uninterrupted coverage of this emergency over the next several hours. But for more on the new restrictions, let's go straight to Seven's Chief Reporter Mike Smithson. Mike, this really is unprecedented for our state.
Certainly is, Rosanna. We haven't seen anything like this, even way back in March. Now, it's going to be severe and it's going to be challenging, and it's going to affect every South Australian family, you, me, everyone else. But let's just hope if we go to this extent now, we'll stop a bad situation getting far worse later on. So let's take a quick look at the do's and don'ts over the next 6 days at least. It starts from midnight tonight. As you say, the no-go list, the shutdowns, all schools except essential workers. That is, if you have a child as an essential worker at school, well, you are still eligible. Universities, takeaway food, pubs, clubs and food courts, coffee shops, elective surgery, open inspections, all sports, weddings and funerals. And now the graphic gives us a snapshot, but I'll continue with a full list. Fly-in and fly-out workers, regional travel, aged care, disability care centres, well, they'll all be in lockdown. Factories, other than those for medical products, construction, holiday homes, whether you're a rental or an owner, weddings and funerals, and please, please, please wear a mask outside. But the remaining will stay open, and this will affect everyone watching right now. Supermarkets, but only one person per household and only once a day after midnight. Medical clinics, including mental health, public transport, airports and petrol stations, banks and veterinary clinics and end-of-life visits. Now, you're not allowed to leave your home during this period, even to exercise. Now, that seems unimaginable, but it's going to be the harsh reality for the next 6 days.
It cemented my fears that this virus is breeding very, very rapidly. You've got a short incubation period and you've got 3 days as those generations move on.
I have to be honest with you, I suppose there was a time during March, April when I thought that the advice we were receiving from health, the trends we were seeing overseas certainly led us to consider these types of restrictions. But with the way we've been able to manage COVID-19 over the last few months, I must admit this is something that we didn't anticipate.
I acknowledge that these restrictions will be challenging for South Australia, but we can and we must follow the expert health advice to keep South Australia safe and strong.
There's no doubting the Woodville Pizza Bar case has pushed this crisis over the edge. An infected worker from Pepper's Hotel also worked at the pizza bar part-time. So anyone who was there for any reason between the 6th and the 16th of November must get tested and self-isolate for a fortnight. Think back, last week, the end of the week before. Were you there? Were you picking up food? Think about that, and that includes anyone who lives with you. So with only 2 new cases today, that seems like a low number, and that brings us to 22. But our Chief Public Health Officer is adamant that we only have 1 shot of this. Now, we're all in the same boat, but this brings us back to earth with a thud. There will be another 8-day period after that where let's hope that those restrictions are eased slightly. So let's hope that this is a major fix. As I said, only 1 shot at this. We'll keep you fully informed during the afternoon. Back to you, Rosanna.
Thank you, Mike. Live now to Andrea Nicholas. So, Andrea, businesses have been given just 11 hours notice to shut up shop.
Yes, Rosanna, it's not long to prepare. This afternoon, hospitality businesses in particular have been scrambling to save whatever stock they can, but inevitably they stand to lose thousands of dollars worth of food and beverage. This is new territory for cafes. Even at our toughest restrictions in March, they were allowed to offer takeaway, but now that's out of the question too. For pubs, it's a case of deja vu. Many are only just bouncing back, and in the lead up to Christmas, this 6-day lockdown couldn't come at a worse time. They're also worried about the hundreds of casual staff they can't afford to pay.
Especially after what we've already been through. I think everyone was just really looking forward to getting out there again.
It's going to be devastating for the team. We'd only been open 2 weeks and doing really well.
It is a worry, but, you know, there's not much we can really do other than just follow the rules and get it done.
We just don't know what to do. We're just going to take each day as it comes.
It's come as a rude shock for patrons too. This afternoon, many have been out enjoying a last meal and a beer while they still can. Of course, it's not just hospitality. Forget going to the nail salon or the hairdresser, but many are saying, let's just rip off the Band-Aid and get through this 6 days. Hopefully by then we're out of the woods. Rosanna?
Thanks, Andrea. And Tim Yateman's at the Bay, where there are chaotic scenes at supermarkets as panic buying grips Adelaide. Tim?
Yeah, Rosanna, there have been very, very frustrated customers here at Woolworths at Glenelg for most of the day since that announcement was made. This is currently the line to even get inside the Woolworths here at Glenelg, probably around 50 or 60 metres long. And if that wasn't bad enough, then customers have got even worse news coming for them. Once they get inside, Woolworths has just announced there are now restrictions on a number of products. We'll have more on that a little bit later. But as we said, a very, very frustrating day for customers here at the Bay. And there have been similar scenes right across Adelaide in the north, south and east, even the west. Everyone is rushing to get supplies. Lineups are out the store too. This one at the North Park Shopping Centre. The Woolies at Marion was also packed with customers desperate to get their hands on the essential items. And at this Marion newsagent, masks were flying off the shelves, selling out within just a few minutes. But setting people into even more of a frenzy is bottle shops. People are panic buying there too. Just a short time ago at the Jeps Cross Dam Murphy's, the line was out the door as customers frantically raced to get their hands on alcohol. Here at the Bay, the Watermark drive-through bottle was closed to cars, but patrons queued on foot to stock up on alcohol, and there was flat-out panic buying at Victor Harbour too.
Can't go without beer for 6 days.
All of a sudden, within 20 minutes, it was pandemonium. So I got a few extra things.
We will have police officers on standby to attend if we see any civil disorder, and we will be taking action. This is completely unacceptable. There is no need for panic buying.
But it seems that message just simply isn't sinking in, and these lines are expected to stay for at least a little while yet. The shops don't even close until 9 o'clock tonight. Rosanna, the advice to customers planning on heading down after work is be patient and expect queues. Back to you.
Extraordinary scenes. Thank you, Tim. Live now to Mark Mooney at the airport. And Mark, we really are the ISO state this afternoon. Travel's banned even within South Australia.
Yeah, that's right, Rosanna. We know these interstate travel restrictions have been around for a few days now, but these bans on travelling to the regions in our own backyard have caught many by surprise. The Police Commissioner today said to all South Australians you are not to travel to and from those country areas as of midnight tonight. So for those who are already there, maybe on holiday at some of our great tourism hotspots, they're being told to make a decision now, either get out before midnight or stay put until the end of this lockdown, which of course is at least 6 days. That is a huge blow for those tourism operators who are just getting back on their feet really from the bushfires of last summer, then the first COVID wave. There has been mixed reaction from locals and business owners alike, and we'll bring you that later in this bulletin. But here at Adelaide Airport, confusion too as people rush here to try and get out of Adelaide, but of course they don't know what they're going to face on the other end of those flights. There is a flight that's just leaving now for Canberra, where the border remains open, sort of. Let's take a look now at the borders across the country, and this is why people are becoming a little confused. We know that Queensland, Western Australia, Tasmania and the Northern Territory, those borders are closed. If you go there, you'll have to go into hotel quarantine. But where it gets really confusing is with New South Wales, Victoria and the ACT. Their borders are technically open, but the leaders there are saying do not come and do not go to and from South Australia unless you absolutely have to. So that is why this is becoming so confusing for South Australians, and our own authorities here are urging people from South Australia not to head interstate as well. So take a listen.
I do not want to be taking this virus or being responsible for taking this virus to other states. Now, I know people may have made travel plans, but there are restrictions to entry into many of the other states in Australia.
So, Rosanna, South Australians find themselves in the bizarre situation, despite that advice, that technically they could go somewhere like Melbourne, Sydney or Canberra tonight, but not to somewhere like Port Lincoln or Mount Gambier. These are strange times.
They sure are. Thank you very much, Mark. Now straight to Deanna Williams. More than 1,000 schools have closed, leaving parents in the lurch.
Yes, Rosanna, mums and dads are scrambling tonight as these incredible restrictions were forced upon them. There was plenty of confusion at school pickup this afternoon. We've already had 5 schools, all linked to the Parafield Gardens cluster, shut down. From today, all primary, high schools and childcare centres will have to close for at least 6 days.
All schools, except for children of essential workers and vulnerable children. Childcare will be available only for families of essential workers.
Things are obviously moving very quickly and they're being very cautious, which I'm pleased about.
I think we just have to get through it, and I can't go back to work either for the next 6 days either.
I think it's a good thing. I think we're acting early and doing what we need to do.
And for some schools, we understand it was too late to arrange for online learning. There'll be no school-related activities either during this time, and whether they'll be rescheduled will be up to the individual school. Fortunately, the final Year 11 exam was held today, just in the nick of time. So students and families are being urged to stay at home during this lockdown to prevent the risk of this virus spreading further into the community. Back to you.
Thanks, Deanna. Return travellers staying at Peppers, the epicentre of the Parafield cluster, have just begun their second fortnight in hotel quarantine. Many were due to complete their stint yesterday, but were told they'd have to be transferred to another Medi hotel for an additional 14 days. Last night, however, there was another change of plan.
All guests will remain at Peppers Hotel until further notice.
A little bit frustrating, said a few choice words out loud. Because again, no one knows what's going on. It just seems like it's a massive farce.
SA Health says transferring the guests would have been too risky after 2 security guards and a cleaner at the hotel tested positive.